And here he is, the man who coined the phrase, food is love, Chef Jasper White from the Summer Shack. Welcome back, Jasper.
Hey, it's always great to be here.
It's great to be here because, listen, it's summertime, it's New England, so that pretty much means it's clam bake season. And one of the most popular items on the Summer Shack menu, and has been since day one, is actually called the Summer Shack Clam Bake. So explain what this dish is.
It's the traditional New England clam bake, really. The thing is, at Summer Shack, I designed a whole system for cooking lobsters. And we can do up to 100 clam bakes at a time and have them timed perfectly because of a hydraulic lift system and 80-gallon kettles. So the ingredients are lobster corn, potatoes, steamers, mussels, chorizo, and I always add an egg to my clam bake.
And people always ask, what's with the egg?
So when you do a real clam bake in the ground, if you hide an egg in the corner and you pull it out before you take the tarp off, crack open the egg. If the egg's cooked, the lobster's cooked.
And see, now there is a great tip from the man that knows a lot about lobster and seafood, without a doubt. But of course, when you go through your career, okay, which has spanned a few decades at this point, but the dish you've always been known for, and you certainly are today at the Summer Shack, and people ask me, listen, what's your one all-time favorite dish? I will say there's no argument. It's the pan-roasted lobster at the Summer Shack. What's the history of this dish, and what makes it so great?
Well, I created that dish in 1984 when I first opened Jasper's down on the waterfront, which was fine dining. And I became really good friends with the chef at Sally Ling's, another famous restaurant at that time, C.K. Sao, one of the best Chinese chefs I've ever met. And I used to love his wok lobster, and I loved the way he cut it and the way he cooked it and how tender it came out. So I took the technique from the wok lobster, even though I didn't have a wok, so I had to add the roasting element to it to finish it. I cut it like a Chinese lobster. I sear it like a Chinese lobster. Roast it, but I used completely Western flavors. Bourbon, white wine, shallots, chervil, chives, and a little bit of butter.
Yeah, just a tad. Just a tad. And that sauce, I'm telling you, you can put anything in that sauce, it'll be good, but certainly the lobster and the sweetness from there makes it just a perfect dish.
Because we seared the shells in the pan, and so all the drippings, all the flavor from the lobster, it works into the sauce.
So that's kind of at the high end of the lobster experience. Let's go to kind of the other end of the lobster spectrum, right? The lobster roll, like the everyman's lobster dish, right?
Yeah, except that's pretty high end now.
That's a good point, too. All lobster dish, yes. But so what is the key for you for a lobster roll?
For me, there's only one true lobster roll. And the key is that you have a New England-style bun. It's cut on the sides. You butter it, you griddle it, and then you make a cool, refreshing lobster salad. And my trick for lobster salad, I make a homemade mayonnaise. I put a little cucumber in it instead of celery, and little chives instead of onion. But it's the contrast of the warm, buttery bun and the cool lobster salad. Close your eyes. It's as delicious as anything you could ever eat, but it's actually a humble dish.
All right, absolutely. Now, speaking of humble dishes that I think you do as well as anyone, and I include anyone like down south, fried chicken. The Antleman family comes into Summer Shack very frequently. I mean, like 3 generations of us. We all get our own thing, and then we get like 3 orders of fried chicken we throw on the table, and people have at it. How did you become a fried chicken expert, Jasper?
Well, I actually used to make it for my Christmas party at Jasper's for the staff. And everybody loved it so much. The flavors that I use, when I was a young cook, I worked in San Francisco with a chef named Luigi Morenzi, and he had a restaurant named after him. And he used to fry rabbit. And I'm not going to give all the seasonings right now.
Right.
But he would marinate the rabbit. And my fried chicken is basically his fried rabbit.
Okay, but I'm assuming, listen, a lot of people don't want to have fried rabbit. Everyone wants fried chicken.
Yeah, fried rabbit's good too.
All right, I have no doubt about that. Now, you are actually celebrating. You've been in, I can't believe this, in Cambridge, the original Summer Shack. It's been there 15 years at this point.
Right.
I mean, when the first one opened, we were there to cover it.
I know.
After 15 years, though, you just went through some pretty big renovations and expansion over there. What's going on?
Well, we built a function room. You know, Alewife is like the new Kendall Square.
Right.
We have a lot of companies moving in, and we had the extra space that used to be our sports bar, and we decided to create a function room. And we have the technology to do clam bakes, but we're doing everything: business meetings, rehearsal dinners, and it's filling a great niche in the area.
And by the way, just for the record, my brother Michael and his wife Claudia, they actually got married at the Summer Shack in Cambridge.
Did, but we closed the restaurant for them.
That's a good point. You don't have to do that for everybody else. Jasper, you are the man. Listen, if you have to go to a place this summer, you have to go to the Summer Shack, everybody. It is 149 Alewife Brook Parkway in Cambridge, and you can see the menu and the additional locations at summershackrestaurant.com.